Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Jasween Kaur. I am from Guru Nanak Dev University Business School, Amritsar. Today we are going to discuss about a module Service Pricing Strategies in the paper of Services Marketing. So students, let us first see what we are going to learn in this module. First is we will determine the objectives and approaches for setting service pricing for delivering customer perceived value. Then we'll try to understand price function strategies for services. Also we'll see how service companies must understand how pricing works, but first they must understand how customer perceive price and price changes. Now let's understand about this concept. Price is the medium for exchange of value between a buyer and a seller. It is an influencing factor in consumer decision making related to purchase. Price represents one of the important traditional marketing mix variables because it is only price which generates inflow of revenues to company while all other variables are associated with cost. Service companies must understand how pricing works, but first they must understand how consumers perceive pricing and their price changes. Following are the ways in which customer perceives services. Customer knowledge of service prices is the first aspect which we need to understand. Often the customers are not aware of cost of service and are unable to access price-value relationship. Generally, customers use personal reference prices. It is a price point in memory for a good service or a service that consists of price last paid. The price most frequently paid or the average of all prices customer has paid for similar offerings. There is very uncertainty in regard to knowledge of reference price because of following reasons. Service variability limits knowledge is the first issue. As services are variable in nature, the service firms explore it to bring flexibility in the configuration of services. Firms offer an infinite variety of combinations and permutations leading to complex pricing structures. Providers are unwilling to estimate prices is the second concern. Another reason is that many providers are unable to estimate the price in advance because they do not know what services will involve until they have fully examined the client's situation. The third point which we need to understand is individual customer needs vary. Heterogeneity feature is linked with almost all the services because services can be uniquely tailored according to customer needs. Each service transaction is to have its own pricing structure. Collection of price information is overwhelming in services. Another reason is that customer feels overwhelmed with the information they need to gather. With most goods, retail stores display the product by category to allow the customer to compare and contrast the prices of different brands and sizes. Prices are not visible is the another point. In most of the services, customers do not know how they are charged and what they pay. There are many situations when the customers do not see the price at all until after they receive certain services. The second point is the role of monetary costs. Monetary price is not only sacrifice consumers make to obtain services. It is the demand for service is also influenced by other costs as well as such as non-monetary cost. It represents the other sources of sacrifice perceived by consumers
when buying and using a service.
Types of non-monetary costs. First type is time cost. It refers to the time the customer has to spend to acquire the service. The second is the energy cost. It signifies the physical energy spent by the consumer to acquire the service. Third is the psychic cost. It denotes the mental energy spent by a customer to acquire the service. For example, the fear of not understanding insurance, fear of rejection. Fourth is search cost. It refers to efforts put in by customer in collecting the information relating to the service and service provider in order to make correct decision. Next is convenience cost. Customers has to face inconvenience in order to acquire the service. Whatever cost is involved, that is called as convenience cost.
The next point to discuss is that prices are indicator of service quality. As the services are intangible in nature, the service customers bank on price to signal the service quality. Price is often used by customer in making pre-purchase quality assessments. From the strategic marketing perspective, knowing how the customer use the price quality cue in their decision is critical to optimal position of brand. If prices are too low, it might indicate low quality of services to consumers. On the other hand, high prices may raise customer expectations on quality, so it should be determined carefully.
Objectives of pricing. Now there are various different objectives of pricing. First is revenue oriented objectives. Price is determined by considered the profit, and by considering the profit and sales maximization objective makes it revenue oriented objective. That means we are setting the price according to the profit and sales. Second is the operation oriented objectives. Some service organizations are constrained by capacity. Service firms need to change prices frequently to match the demand and supply. That means if the demand is high, then they may keep the prices low because they're meeting with the demand at that price. Or sometimes what happens is between the demand and supply, if the demand is high but if the supply is low, that means they do not have the sufficient supply to meet the demand, then they may keep the prices high. We have heard of an example of demarketing strategy in Sikkim. Now, Sikkim is the most sought after destination by various tourists, but Sikkim does not have adequate infrastructure to support various tourists. The hotels there are not sufficient there to cater to the huge demand, especially during the season. So Sikkim decided to go in for demarketing strategies. That means they kept the prices high, or they did not advertise it so well, so that the tourist influx during season is not very high. Reason: because if the tourist comes and the tourist does not have a satisfaction, then that will build a negative image. So it is only to have that much amount of tourists that that particular area can cater to. Third objective is patronage oriented objective. Price may be used effectively to develop loyalty and relationship with customers. Many companies now prefer patronage building in profit maximization as a future oriented strategic option.
Approaches to pricing. There are three pricing approaches which a marketer can choose depending upon the market conditions. These approaches are: first, cost-based pricing. It is traditional and simple method. The company determines expense incurred, either direct or indirect, on production and adds a desired profit margin to arrive at a price. The rationale of this method is to add a percentage markup to cost of pricing and delivering the service. The basic formula for cost-based pricing is price is equal to direct cost plus overhead cost plus profit margin. The various challenges faced by companies are: costs are difficult to trace in service businesses, particularly when multiple services are provided by a firm. Another challenge is that a major component of cost is employee time, and the value of people's time is not easy to estimate. Another challenge or concern is that it involves defining the units in which service is purchased, which is vague entity in case of manufactured goods. This method is criticized on following fronts. First, it ignores the image and market position of the firm. Second, it ignores the demand-price relations. Third, some hidden costs are usually forgotten. Therefore, true margins may be lower than what are realized. Next, competitors can lower the price to win the businesses by having lower cost base and lower profit margins. Next, it assumes that company will receive the sales target to break even. Next is competition-based pricing. This method uses observed price level of competitors as primary source for setting the price. There are two situations in which competition-based pricing is most suitable: when all the service providers offer the services more or less the same standard, or when the oligopoly competition situation is present in the market. Companies have three main choices under this approach: pricing above the competition, pricing below the competition, and pricing at par with the competition. The decision depends upon the extent to which service differs from those of their competitors.
Demand-based pricing. This method is customer-oriented pricing because this approach takes into consideration the customer's sensitivity to non-monetary costs, the customer perception of value, and customer's acceptability of services at price. This method promotes value pricing concept, which uses the value that a service delivers to the customer as the main factor for setting the price. Here in this method, there is a challenge to determine the value to customers of each of the non-monetary aspects is involved. Under this method, price is based on what customers pay for the services provided according to the demand.
Understanding customer perception of value. In order to understand the demand-based, it is imperative to find out what does a value means to a customer. Service customers generally perceive the following important value perceptions. First point in this to understand low or reduced price is value. Some customers equate value with lower price, indicating that what they have to give up in terms of money is most salient in their perceptions of value. As money is an important limitation for them in purchasing, they attach value to lower price. For example, value is getting discount coupons. Value is everything expected in a service. Some customers may consider the benefits that they receive from the service as the most important component in assessing the value of the service. As this group of people have enough money, they do not give importance to price. The customers give value to suitability and quality of services. Next point is value is price versus quality relationship. This group of customers see a trade-off between the value of money and the quality of service they receive. They evaluate the alternatives and try to optimize the benefits from every transaction. Value is special packages offered by company is another point. This group of customers considers the total benefit received and the total sacrifices made by them, including money, time, and effort. The special packages offered by company attract these customers. They prefer those service providers who can give more customer delivered value. Whatever the approach, the customer relates value with the benefits that the service offer. Every customer will like to choose that product which provides them highest value. The customer perceived value is difference between the customer's evaluation of all benefits and all cost of an offer. Now we need to understand the ratio what a customer sacrifices when he gets in a marketing exchange. The customer delivered value is equal to TCV minus TCC. That means the perceived benefits and perceived sacrifices needs to be compared to understand customer value. If we have perceived benefits in terms of product benefits, service benefits, relationship benefits, and image benefits, and the perceived sacrifices are in terms of monetary costs, time costs, energy costs, and psychological costs. Perceived benefits positive impact leads to high customer value, and perceived sacrifice is a negative impact on customer value.
Following are some of the values, because we need to understand that a price is determined by the customer in terms of the value achieved. Customer will feel that if I am paying for a price of a particular service, then I should be able to get the value for the price I have paid. So the first value is the core service value. It signifies the relevance and suitability of the service to the prime need of the customer. Supporting service value. Customer also assess the additional services associated with the core service. Third is the image value. The corporate image and the local image of the service provider influences value perception. Other values which the customer takes into account in terms of the price which is paying to the service provider is that the customer may perceive some additional values in such cases as emergency, impulse, emotionality, and psychological values which may be associated with the service offer.
Pricing strategies are linked to value perceptions. As there are different types of value perception that customer can develop in relation to service, so service provider should adopt different types of pricing strategies against those perceptions while determining the price of service. These strategies can be discussed one by one. First is pricing strategies when customer meant value is low price. When monetary price is the most important determinant of value to a customer, the company should focus mainly on price and following strategies of focus should be given. First point in this is to understand discounts in terms of pricing. The price sensitive customers can be lured to a service through discounts or price cuts, especially when the competition is tough and the supply of service is more than demand. So if supply of service is higher and demand is less, then definitely you will have to lower the price and create demand. Second point is psychological pricing or odd pricing. This strategy is used to influence the consumers psychologically by fixing the price in odd numbers. The intention is the customer make it feel that they are offered prices at lower price. Normally we see examples of pricing at $459 or $449, which shows that it is not $500. The third is penetration pricing. In this strategy, in which new services are introduced at lower price to stimulate the trial and widespread use. If a product is low or it is in competition, it is always used to have lower price and try to enter into the market through penetration pricing policy. Next is synchro pricing. It is use of price to manage demand for a service by capitalizing on customer sensitivity to prices. Service companies offer the lower price to smooth the demand and to gain incremental value. For example, lowering the charges on telephone call after 11 am is a value which is being given to the customer in the off-peak hours. Under this strategy, time, place, quantity, and incentive differentials are used effectively.
Now let's understand how pricing strategies when the customer means value is everything I want in a service. For a customer group that perceive value to be everything follows strategies which are various of kinds. First is prestige pricing. Prestige pricing is a special form of demand-based pricing by service manufacturers or marketers who offer high quality or status service. This strategy intends to attract premium segments of the market. Customers attach more value to high price of the service. For example, membership of premium health club and luxury hotel. Second is skimming strategy or skimming pricing. It is a strategy in which a new service are introduced at a high price. Products, it is for an effective approach where services are a major improvements over past services. This is suitable in case of products which have shorter span of life or shorter life cycle due to technological obsolescence. That means skimming strategy is important in those cases when we know that a service has a short life cycle and the customer demand is not much. So if you're introducing an innovative product, you try to skim or take away the huge amount of cash from the market in terms of purchasing power of the customer and phase out, because you know that the span of service cycle is low. But in case if the you know that the product or a service has a large cycle, then you go in for a penetration pricing policy rather than a skimming pricing policy.
Third point is to understand pricing strategies when consumers mean value is the quality I get for the price I pay. Under this strategy, marketers should first understand what quality means to the customer and then to match quality level with the price level. The various strategies which may be followed under this can be: first, value pricing. This strategy is followed to satisfy the customer who is looking for the deal which give the more for less. For example, buffet offers or various other offers in the food joints where we are getting more but we are paying less. So it's more economical. Second is segmentation pricing. This strategy aims at charging different prices from different group of customers demanding different level of service quality. These customers are likely to perceive more value in distinctive identity. The next point is to understand that pricing strategies when the customer means value is all that I get for all that I give. The following strategies are suitable for this group. First is price framing. It means providing total information on pricing of various service packages so that the customers can group the desired services at the price to place on order. The second point which we need to discuss is this: in price framing, that a detailed list of prices should be communicated through an appropriate media. Another aspect of pricing is complementary pricing. Under the head of complementary pricing, the following three closely related pricing strategies should be adopted. The first pricing strategy is captive pricing. Under this pricing scheme, the service firm offers a basic product or service or it continues to supplies or peripheral services that are needed. In case of cable network firm, the first cable connection is provided for a price higher, then the second is provided at a lower price. So this is called as captive pricing. The second type of pricing is two-part pricing. Under this strategy, the price of the service is divided into two parts. The first part may be compulsory and the second part depends on the users of the service. The telecommunication industry adopts this pricing strategy. The rental charges and fixed number of free calls constitute the first part. The second part of pricing depends on your level of usage and you are accordingly charged for it. Loss pricing leader. The objective of this strategy is to attract large number of customers to the service outlet. Some supplementary services are offered at a very low price for attracting customers to the business. For example, in order to increase the inflow of people booking through makemytrip.com, it is offering discount on hotel booking also. So the customers book their flights through this website and get a discount in booking hotel. So in this case, the core service is booking the flight. The supplementary service is getting a hotel at a discount. We take another extension of example in this. In a booking of a flight, the operator offers a food in-house facility at a subsidized rate. So if you're booking a flight and you're getting a food at a subsidized rate, is the service which is being offered at a lower price for attracting customers to use that particular mode of transport. Another important aspect of pricing to understand is price bundling. It means pricing and selling services as a group, not individually. Under this, two or more goods or services are offered in a single package for a special price. For example, we normally find in a package of one, we get 1+1 offer, or we sometimes get one soap with one toothpaste offer, or one toothpaste with one toothbrush offer. So in a package of one, we are getting two products but at a rate at a special price, and customer psyche is influenced that they're getting two products at a special price. So there is impulse buying and influence of customer behavior and customer purchase. Another aspect of price bundling is called as pure bundling. It is used when combinations of services and goods is more valuable to the customer than any of them would be independently. So in this case, if the products are offered in combination, they are likely to purchase it at a higher rate. As I gave an example earlier also, with the toothpaste you get a toothbrush free. Now they are in combination, they need to be used in combination, so people prefer to buy this package as one at a special price and use this particular service or product. Another type of pricing is mixed bundling. Under this, two or more services are sold individually or combined.
So students, let us now summarize what we have learned in this module. Price is a medium of exchanging value between buyers and sellers, as we understood. It is the only element of marketing mix that is associated with revenue. As we understand that there are 7 elements of services marketing mix, that is product, price, place, promotion, physical evidence, people and process. But it is the price at which the service is being given to the customer generates revenue for the marketer or service company. Service characteristics and customer value perceptions influence pricing decisions. Means that if we have a positive image of the product, if we launch a service and we have a huge demand for the service, over a period of time we can value our pricing decisions accordingly. But if we know that the acceptability of the customer is not for a service, then accordingly we'll have to sell the service at a different price. If we know that the customer demand for a service is high, we can have a high price, and of course we can keep our profit margins high. But if the customer demand for a service is low and our service is not being catered to, or it is not being sought by the customer, then we'll have to reduce the price of a service to deliver it to the customer and survive. So it is the various pricing decisions are influenced by the customer value perceptions of a service. To determine effective pricing strategy, we need to, a firm has to have a good understanding of costs and the value which is deriving to the customer. And the competitor pricing is also needs to be taken into account when we have to set a price. So when setting a price, we have to take into account various parameters. One, what is the value which you are giving to the customer vis-a-vis the features of your product. If the service has an inbuilt features and has various tools and facilities, then you can decide upon the price. Second, what is the competitors of your price? How much competitors you have for your particular service, and accordingly you set the price. And also more important is we need to understand the various non-monetary costs which are influencing our pricing decision. So all these things will make a huge difference in making a pricing decision of a service, and it is the price which is important element or criteria in the eyes of the service customer to judge the quality of the service. Sometimes it happens, we see that a service is of high price. That does not mean that the customer will not prefer a service. Because if a quality is high and if a customer is paying a high price for that particular service and the service is matching to the quality and the price and the value given to the customer will be satisfied and you're having a profit also for it. So you need to balance all these things while making service pricing decisions. Thank you.